Welcome back, Cubs. Direwolf here. And today I want to give my 2 cents on Laci Green and open and honest dialogue.
Hi, Internet! I'm back! Did you miss me? Don't answer.
For those of you who don't know who Laci Green is, she has for years been a very loud voice for the third-wave feminist and social justice warriors on YouTube. Though the main focus of her channel has been sexuality, she has echoed the progressive demonization of opposition by labeling them racist, sexist, homophobic, and other pejoratives.
Trump saw that. He saw the undercurrent of misogyny and racism, and he rode that wave to electoral college victory. Without a doubt, Trump gave a voice to unspeakable darkness.
She has personally attempted to silence smaller YouTubers who were critical of her, like Roaming Millennial, and she has supported debunked narratives like the gender wage gap, multiple sexes, and has supported the idea that those with differing opinions, like Trump supporters, are both racist and homophobic.
I, Laci Green, am the very pinnacle of a social justice warrior. My SJW-ness has been memeified with statements like, everything is problematic, and there are more than 2 genders, and America is racist.
Due to her self-proclaimed and well-known membership in the radical left that is usually resistant to debate, free speech, and honest dialogue, I was surprised when she recently made a drastic change. Or so it would seem. It started with her making a video 2 months ago labeled Leaving YouTube. A lot of people, when they talk about the apparent red pilling of Laci Green, think the story starts when she first reaches out to Blair White on Twitter. These people seem to think that Laci Green has had a radical change in her philosophy or a change of heart. This is not the case. She's still a feminist and still a social justice warrior. However, one thing has changed, and that change is very evident in her own words in the video called Leaving YouTube. On February 2nd of this year, she released a video saying that she was going back to college to get her doctorate degree, and because of this, she was likely not going to have time to do her regular videos. She explained that her normal political and sex plus videos took far too much time to edit for her to be able to do a regular college regimen and continue making the videos. And that's when she said this.
My YouTube videos, particularly the Sex Plus videos, which sometimes take months to make, I'm probably not going to have time to make as many of them. However, I do still want to post videos, so I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen. I think one of the things that I need to do is just make videos that don't take quite as much time as the Sex Plus videos do.
She stated that she still wanted to keep making YouTube videos, but she needed to find a way that she could do it with less effort and less time. This statement is key. She wants to stay on YouTube. She wants to keep making content, but she needs to make content that requires less time for her to produce a video. In the 2 months that followed, I believe she devised a plan that was quite ingenious. It was at this time that she started reaching out to more moderate skeptic YouTubers like Blair White on Twitter, and actually had a debate with Blair White. And in that debate, she did not show that she had changed any of her feminist ideas about gender and multiple sexes. What she did demonstrate, though, was the ability and willingness to debate these topics in a non-adversarial way. This is her branding herself as someone willing to do open and honest dialogue between opposing views. Which, don't get me wrong, is a positive thing. It'd be much better if we had more social justice warriors and feminists willing to have open and honest debates with the skeptics. But we just need to be honest about the motives behind the change. Since the Blair White debate, which was a very good debate, she's gone on to make connections with other, more moderate skeptic YouTubers.
I went down the rabbit hole of anti-SJW videos. I've recently found anti-SJW channels that are well-cited and reasoned, make some interesting points. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I agree with that, or I didn't really think of that. And sometimes I disagree, in which case, I still feel it's beneficial for me to listen and consider another perspective. It helps me learn. So I decided to reach out to some. And, I was pleasantly surprised. People have been pretty kind to me. And, I'll be honest, I didn't really expect that. No judgment, no vitriol. I even feel like I have a really good connection with a couple of new friends.
Including meeting up with Chris Raygun outside of YouTube, which then brings us to the red-pilled Laci Green video that everyone's been talking about. In this video, she makes reference to the internet meme of the red pill and blue pill that's often used by skeptics.
The red pill is a meme that refers to this realization that the world isn't nearly as simple as you thought it was. The question, of course, is what is the truth? What is the truth? And how bad do you want to know?
In this video, she makes a few key points, the first of which is that she, unlike most social justice warriors and feminists, is willing to have open debates with skeptics.
Very nice.
She identifies herself as both a skeptic and a feminist. And to give credence to this statement, she makes some concessions by pointing out some of the hypocrisy in the social justice and feminist movements. It was refreshing to hear someone like herself on the regressive left to point out that the left's attempt to say that harmful speech is the equivalent to actual violence is inaccurate, dishonest, and minimizes the effect of actual violence.
Social justice communities lately have been arguing that bigoted ideas, this harmful speech should be suppressed because it allows the bigotry to spread and to be validated. The question is, what counts as harm? To some, harm is a problematic opinion. Harm is hate speech. Harm is inciting violence. The other pole of this issue is the perspective that there is no such thing as harmful speech, that speech can't hurt you. Therefore, all speech should be permitted, no matter what. I fall somewhere between these two perspectives. My opinion is that speech can be emotionally harmful if it causes pain or shame or dehumanizes you. It can also be physically harmful if it incites or advocates violence against someone. But these two harms don't pose the same amount of threat to an individual in the context of political speech. So they shouldn't be treated as equal forms of violence. If we're gonna say a slur is just as violent as punching someone in the face, to me, that minimizes the egregiousness of punching someone in the face. I think the definition of harm is being pushed too far in regard to political speech, that this heightened level of sensitivity is actually resulting in some censorship. Not de jure like government censorship, the technical definition of it, but de facto censorship, in practice.
And I appreciated when she pointed out that feminists often are censoring each other so that no opposing view of the majority can be heard. She pointed out that when a feminist published an article that was critical of transracialism, that other feminists tried to silence her article by having it removed from the publication.
Last week, amongst feminist scholars who appear to be cannibalizing themselves as usual. It all started with a feminist philosopher's publication in the philosophy journal Hypatia about transracialism. So in the paper, she examines arguments that are used for transgender equality and basically finds that logic can be applied to race as well. But instead of refuting her arguments on their logical merits, the academics penned an open letter claiming that the paper needs to be revoked, citing its various harm. And having read the paper, the accusations that are made in this open letter are a complete misrepresentation of her argument to an extreme degree, which really makes this whole ordeal all the more troubling. These are not grounds to censor an academic paper. They're not grounds to ruin someone's academic reputation. I mean, what's the end goal here? Is it that, only a very specific perspective can be heard in a philosophy journal?
Though I very much appreciate and applaud Laci Green for being brave enough to point out the two flaws in the social justice and feminist spheres.
Very nice.
I want to point out that these two things were said because she was trying to find common ground with the skeptics, which again is not a bad thing. This will open up some open and honest debates between social justice warriors and skeptics. But it's very important to understand the motive. Laci Green has not been red-pilled. She has not changed her philosophy. What has happened is she realized that she no longer has time to make YouTube videos. So instead, she's going to host debates between feminists and skeptics, which requires much less work on her part.
So where does this leave us? I want to continue these conversations, which is why soon I'm going to be launching a series of live debates with feminists and anti-feminists.
It's actually a very genius plan. See, if she's not the one actually doing the debating, she doesn't have to prepare for a debate. If she's the only one hosting, all she has to do is invite good guests. This removes the need for planning, scripting, and editing videos to put on YouTube. It's all one live stream that she does not do the preparation for. In addition to that, that will bring audiences from both the skeptic side and the social justice side, and will give her a very big audience. And since such debates like this will often bring a lot of drama, it will probably receive a lot of views and be very popular. So Laci Green's motive is not that she's becoming a skeptic or leaving feminism or those ideals. However, that does not make this a bad thing. So what if Laci Green has not really been red-pilled? She's one of the very few social justice warriors or feminists that's actually willing to speak to skeptics and have a debate. And if she allows her channel to become a platform where these debates happen on a regular basis, I see that as an insanely positive thing. All this hysteria about Laci Green becoming red-pilled is a bit ridiculous. She is the same Laci Green she was 3 months ago. I must give credit where credit credit is due. Laci Green, good job. You had a very genius idea that's going to have a very good impact on this community. Despite me disagreeing with a lot of things that you believe, I am very thankful that you are doing this. I ask you to please not listen to those closed-minded views from Christy Winters and Steve Shives that are saying what you're doing is wrong.
But not everyone is so hunky-dory about it. Good friends of mine, feminists, have been a little bit skeptical of me. They expressed the opinion that talking to antis or problematic people is, not going to be worth the time, that it won't be fruitful, that I'm engaging with bigots and validating their perspectives, that I'm offering a platform to bullies, things like that. While I can appreciate this perspective, I fundamentally disagree with it.
They are wrong, not you. You're being very brave to step out of your echo chamber and opening yourself up to critique and having to respond. Those others, like Steve Shive, would very much like to remain in their echo chambers and only hear praise from their own followers. And to those of you who are demanding that Laci apologize for what she said and done to skeptics in the past, I say let's not be like the feminists who require that their opposition come to them groveling on their hands and knees and asking for forgiveness to ever be accepted. And also, accept her for who she is. She is not a new skeptic. She's a feminist who's now open to discussion. I don't value platitudes. If she really does feel guilty for what she said, then she will apologize organically on her own. If you require it as a prerequisite to debating with you, it will be forced and insincere. And though I would appreciate if she had apologized to conservatives, traditional liberals, and skeptics for calling them sexist, racist, homophobic, and Islamophobic, I do not require it, because actions speak far louder than words. If she just stopped saying those things and then started treating us with respect, I can live with that. And if her recent tweets and videos are an accurate depiction, it would seem as though she no longer plans on shutting down our arguments and disrespecting us by calling us sexist, racist, and homophobic. It's as though she's willing to stop demonizing and dismissing her opposition and is now willing to have open debates about the very real social and political issues that face our societies. And because of that, Laci Green, though I realize your actions are self-serving, most people's are, and what you're doing is also helping other people. So, my statement to you, Laci Green, is thank you. You're doing the right thing. Direwolf, out.
Very nice.